Here we have a Flex Lithium Black Decker vacuum. It no longer lights up when charging, and when you try to run it, it seems completely dead. So usually there is something wrong with one of the lithium-ion batteries. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this in order to check those batteries out. The simplest way to take this apart usually is you only need to take these two screws in order to gain access to the batteries. And it comes apart. And then we can take a look. And this unit has 5 lithium-ion cells. I'm going to guess that one of them has gone completely open, but we'll take a look. All right, we've got a voltmeter here, so let's just check all 5 cells. So we'll do this bottom one, and we see 2.85. That's a little low, but it's not totally unreasonable. These two are tied together, which then connects here. So let's see what that shows. That shows 4 volts. That's not bad. And then going across this one, this third one up here, we've got 3.8. That's pretty good. And then this last one will go all the way over to here because these two are tied together. That's 4. So it looks like one of the cells here, it looks like that 2.85 cell between these two is, no, sorry, which one? This one, was it? This first one. This one might be the culprit. So it's inverted, so we'll just switch this. This is the negative here, and this is the positive here. I'm not sure why it wouldn't charge if this was low. Oh, but it's probably what's happening is the chargers, this is completely unbalanced. These guys are going to peak out when it tries to charge because they're fully charged, or at least this one is. And that one is, but this one is not. So these will cause a disconnect, and then this one gets no charge. So yeah, this thing basically became completely unbalanced. Now this had been plugged in for at least a month charging, so there doesn't appear to be any internal automatic balancing in here. So this is actually a pretty easy thing to fix if you've got it apart and you've got a power supply, which I've got right here. So what we can do is we can go ahead and make sure this is in the camera, which it is. Okay, we'll turn this on. We'll shift everything over just a little bit to make sure everything's in the camera here. And we don't want anywhere near that kind of voltage. 4.2, I believe, is what these guys charge up to. And I don't want that much current at all. Probably a good amount is 1/2 of an amp. But let's just go ahead and, whoops, that's way too little. Let's go ahead and set that up to 700. I think that would be pretty safe. And we'll always double check polarity. You don't want to make a mistake here. So yeah, so left side here is positive, that side's negative. We'll go ahead and hook up the power supply. To these BMS connectors, enable it with this button here. So now it's charging. The voltage is 3.6 at 0.7 amps, which we can confirm our voltage here with this as well. We should see about the same voltage, 3.8, 3.9. This is a little worrisome. It seems like this cell is bad and will need to be replaced because it's charging way too fast. It should not charge this quickly to this 4.2 volts. Yeah, so this cell basically can't hold any power. That seems to be what our problem is. Well, that's kind of a bummer, because now that means I need to replace one of the cells. All right, so I've pulled this back, and basically to get this off, this is probably not the best way, but I just try to pry this out to disconnect the cell. There we go. So yeah, that spot weld wasn't on very great. I don't really have a spot welder, so I did the best I could. And the same thing with the negative. And I've also previously marked these with polarity because you want to make sure you get it in the new one in the right way. So we'll try to do the same thing with the negative side here. It's best to buy replacement cells with these tabs already on, because then you just solder onto that, which tends to be a lot easier than doing this. I will have to figure out how to make a spot welder here. And it's off. So we've got the battery, so it'll come out. And this little protective piece here, we can reuse that on the new battery. And these will just push out. There we go. And we got it out. So now we just need to get another one that's rated the same. I do remember this thing takes about 10 amps continuous or 20 amps on initial surge. But it is a fire hazard. It is a little weird that it's warped around this spot here. I don't know if that's fully visible. There we go. Warped around this spot here. I don't remember it going in like that. Anyhow, I think I might have another exact one. We'll see. So turns out I actually have another one of these. I guess I have replaced all of these once, but this is the same one. This is the old bad one. This is the new one. So let's just go ahead and do a quick check to make sure this has voltage. And it looks like it has good voltage. Now, of course, this one's going to have more capacity, so it's something I should note mentally or write it down in some notes, is that these other fours, probably one of those is going to go bad before this one does. But anyhow, this needs to be replaced. So we did write down the polarity plus there, and so that is the plus. So we'll go ahead and push that in. They make it very tight. Now the only issue here is spot welding this on to here. Same as this end here. I somehow was able to spot weld it. I could try to solder, but usually the solder never holds, and I really don't want to heat up a lithium ion battery with solder. It just seems like sort of a bad idea. I made this a while back. It's not the best thing at all. This is a little homemade or homebrew spot welder. I bought this inexpensively for like $7 or something like that, or maybe it was 17. And I bought a 200 amp 12 volt relay, and I've got a battery here, which is an AGM lead acid battery. You wouldn't want to do this with lithium ion. And basically the idea was you put this on the thing, and then I have these two contacts here, which I had hooked up to a switch, which momentarily you just tap it and then it does a spot weld and then you're done. Turns out that the relay sometimes gets frozen stuck on, so it really didn't work the best. But since I only really need to do 2 spot welds, I'm going to give this a try. I would not recommend this as the way anybody actually operates, but just for fun, we'll give it a try. You've been warned here. So we'll go ahead and pry these up a little bit. And plus and minus, let's see, I don't know if the relay really cares much, but I would say this is labeled I had the black on there, so let's just say that that's probably the negative. And then this would be the positive here. And we can hear if it clicks or not when we connect these two. I heard a click. So looks like it might work. We'll see. So I'll go ahead and put this little thing that I took off of the other battery, this insulator, and we'll go ahead and, oops, see, that came off. Now I'm going to have to do yet another weld. So let's go ahead and try that one first. You kind of need 3 hands with this if I'm going to go ahead and do this. Since I didn't have 3 hands, I was going to just tap the appropriate wire to the negative terminal of the battery to momentarily activate the relay. So that negative, so maybe this negative. Yep, that's it. So you tap that one to the negative, and this will go off. So the hard part is holding all of this on, right? So we're going to go ahead and try the easy one first. And you want to be careful where your hands are, and I did nothing. Yeah, that's a lot of sparking. Well, I might have made some contact there. You have to push pretty hard. And I can hear the battery's this battery's kind of old. So it did make contact, so that's good. Let's see if, we can just get this on here. Again, this is not how I would say anybody should do spot welds, but that seems to have taken. So let's try the other side. One more left. I probably need to invest in an inexpensive spot welder eventually, but I don't have one now, and I want to get this working now, so we'll give that a try. Nope, didn't work. Still didn't work. Okay, that looked better. Yeah, these things you sometimes need to sand a bit after a couple of spot welds because they get carbon buildup. Okay. Nope. See, told you. We might need to get a whole fresh piece and then just and then solder onto that. But let's try this one more time. Hopefully this is all in the camera here. Okay, I suspect that probably worked. Yeah, it looks like it's attached. That looks like it's attached. That looks like it's attached. Let's try this out. Well, that's a good sound. So I would say let's just button this up and keep our fingers crossed that those welds hold out. Oh, I have done this assembly and disassembly a few times, so it shouldn't be too bad, but we do have to kind of figure out how this goes every time. There is a charging light. This thing goes over here. I think it actually goes like this. There's that. So it goes back in this way. You really want to see. can try our best. Okay. And this part here, you just have to make sure these wires kind of crunch up into there. Otherwise, it can prevent it from sealing all the way as well. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So these two screws here. Okay, that takes care of that. And then this goes in here like this. This goes in. Let's make sure we got it right. There we go. And then it latches. And then this vacuum goes like that. And it's all set. And it does work. So before I do much else, I'll put this on the charger. This will light up, and when this light goes out, it's fully charged. And I put the vacuum on the charger, and here we can see the light is lighting up and it is charging. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and take a look at one of my other videos here.